Hello, in this video you will find information about the module 2 of the Outside Toolkit. This module is about learning outdoor. It is divided into 2 sessions. The first session has been made by L'Arbre des Possibles, the Tree of Possibilities, a democratic open school from Belgium. And the second module has been created by the Merkine Vinkes Gymnasium in Lithuania. You can find the documents of this module online, as well as the PowerPoint that you will see here. You can also find videos, such as this one, but also a very nice video created by the children of L'Arbre des Possibles that explains the contents that I'm going to explain now, but in their own words. So the first session is about the importance of an open and diversified environment in the child's development. So it is the intention of that first session is to develop the understanding of the people working with teenagers, teachers, educators, and so on, that teenagers need to have access to many different kinds of people, experiences, inputs, places, and that it is absolutely crucial in their development. In this first session, we use the example of the school L'Arbre des Possibles from Belgium as a model of an open democratic school. While in the second session, which is about how to implement outdoor activities in a conventional school, we take the opposite perspective from conventional school, how to try to adapt it and how to organize outdoor activities to help teenagers to spend more time outside and to be more in contact with society. So in the first session, we start with presenting a societal and theoretical background which is supporting the development of the school system towards more openness. So it's already decades that the school system has been criticized by scientists, pedagogues, people experiencing different kinds of teaching in different kinds of schools. So the conventional school system has shown its limits. What children need is not to be all the time in one closed room with one adult and with only children of their age to go quickly. They need to have much more different kind of experiences. It is really crucial in their development. So this is the main thing that is explained in detail into that first session of the module 2. And we use the example of the school L'Arbre des Possibles to explain this. It's also crucial for adults working with teenagers to reflect on their posture, because they need to be benevolent and self-aware and to know how to work with good communication so that they can be healthy examples, mediators, and teachers. So we will also go through this into the first session of the module 2. And then the intention is also to give you some inspiration of activities that you can organize with your teenagers in your own school. This is developed furthermore into the second session. So this is the summary of the first session. So first, the societal and theoretical background, the model of the democratic open school from Belgium, the relationship with others and with nature, the importance of adventure, especially for teenagers, participation and diversity of interactions, the posture of the adult, learning outside the box, and some comments and exercise that you can make to develop your reflection about it. So first part of the first session explains that there are more and more open schools, alternative schools that have the intention to modify the current school system. just because science and experience have been showing that what actually children need for their development, which is not always provided by the conventional school system, on the opposite. So in the description of our democratic open school, we explain that our school is based on the idea that children are free to learn, so they can choose what they learn. They don't have to sit down, make mathematics all day long or whatever. They can just choose what they do. So they have a very, very wide palette of possible activities. We explain also in this first session the skills markets. So every 2 months, some adults and also children come to propose some workshops, and children can choose which ones they want to follow. And once they put their name on the list, they are committed to come, and they can choose to learn pottery, how to work with leather, or grammar, or whatever. It's also very important for children and teenagers to be spending time with children that have different ages, so that they can have a smaller one that they can explain to. This is very healthy thing to do for learning, and also to have a bigger brother to look up to and to have an example and to learn from. This is, I'm just summing it up, but you can go deeper into that first session. It's also very important to have access to many different kinds of people. So coming from different backgrounds, different ages. So in our school, we have grandparents coming to tell stories. We have parents coming to share their experience, entrepreneurs, gardeners, whatever. And children go also in many different kinds of places to discover different ways of living and different kind of people. One basic thing in our school, in any environment for children really, is that they have a benevolent surrounding and a safe environment. And I repeat again, that they have an environment that is really rich on all aspects. Of course, by child development, we don't only refer to the theoretical, practical knowledge of the world, experiences, all the things that they learn, but also to their well-being. So the adults in our school also take care of the psychological and the social development of the children. Relationship with nature is absolutely essential. So it has been shown by neuroscience experts and pedagogues, and you can find many interesting references on the text of the module, such about a nature deficit disorder, that children who spend too much time sitting and in front of screens tend to be less healthy physically and mentally, which is pretty obvious. But so restoring the contact with nature is just a return to normal. It's a very basic need for humans to interact with other living beings living around them. And in our school, we have forest schools days, so at least half of the days the children are outside all day long. And we explain how rich it is for them, and they can learn so much from it. Into the module, you can find also some lovely quotes, such as this one, and different kinds of references. Adventure. Adventure is a key word for teenagers. They are at an age that they are really curious, and they really need to go to the outside, and they learn so much by interacting with each other into challenging experiences. So we bring them very often to climbing, canoeing, hiking, and so on. This is just for information. I will go quickly through this, and you can find it in detail into the text of the module. So I really hope that this interests you, and that you can participate into making the way that we treat our teenagers better. really supporting their curiosity, their enthusiasm. Thank you for listening.
Hello, my name is Audrone, and I am going to introduce the second module of the Outside Toolkit Learning Outdoors. The second module of the Outside Toolkit Learning Outdoors is dedicated to train teachers how to implement outdoor activities in their school with their students. The module was developed by Lithuanian school Merkinė Vincas Gymnasium. In the second session of the module, we will take another starting point. How can a classical, traditional school bring children more outside? And I will show you the examples of the activities that teachers can propose to their students to be more in contact with the environment and with the people outside of the school. So objectives of the session are: teachers and educators will know how to organize forest days. Teachers and educators will know how to organize adventure days for teenagers. Teachers and educators will find inspiration on how to open more their school to diverse actors and stakeholders. Teachers will know how to develop multi-age and intergenerational relationships inside the school. And the structure of the second session will be as follows. What is a traditional school? Its main features. The second point is activity Ask the Children. Forest days, their planning and organization. Adventure days, their planning and organization. Possible problems which teachers face while implementing outdoor activities with their students in a traditional school. Unequal opportunities for students, for young people to be close to nature, and homework. So, what is a traditional school? Traditional school is fairly rigorous, not very dynamic system that alienates teachers from their students. The model of the traditional school focuses on formation of a child's intellect, his ability to solve problems, capacities for attention and effort, as the best way to prepare him or her for life. Its main theorists have argued that it is a clear and perfect choice of the models which are offered to students. For this reason, a teacher is considered as a guide and a mediator between the models and the child, who needs to adapt to these guidelines. Traditional school focuses on teaching the student according to the teacher's wishes, and traditional learning lies in a teacher's ability to teach. The only tool for assessing learning is the exam, which is summative. It is designed to check that knowledge provided has been accumulated and memorized, which will depend on students' ability to store information. However, it must be acknowledged that this pedagogical model has some positive and valuable aspects of education. And traditional school is changing little by little, from traditional to constantly learning, creating, changing, to a school that responds to the needs of students and society. So why it is important to implement outdoor activities in a traditional school? And what is outdoor learning? So Outdoor learning is active learning in the outdoors. In the outdoor learning, participants learn through what they do, through what they encounter, and through what they discover. And outdoor learning is a real learning. So each school should have an outdoor classroom that can be used for education. And outdoor learning, field learning, can take place anywhere for learning outside of the school building. Teachers can greatly improve students' learning, both process skills as well as content concepts. Implementing outdoor and open activities in a traditional school. So outdoor activities develop students' creativity, imagination, and it's quite convenient to perform different tasks outdoors because all the tools can be found right here. And there are many benefits of outdoor learning because a lot of competences are developed. First of all, cognitive competence is developed, which is very important for students. So critical thinking, grouping, calculation, testing, etc. Social communication is also developed. So communication, cooperation, ability to work in a team, healthcare, so ability to concentrate, good emotional well-being, artistic competence, so initiative, digital literacy. And what is very important, that students have less work to do with the homework, because nowadays students are overcrowded with different tasks, homework, projects, and they are able to apply their theoretical knowledge in practice, to learn different subjects and learn from each other. So what are the activities that can be implemented in a traditional school? The first activity, which should be repeated every time before going outside with the students, is the activity Ask the Children. And every time before planning to go, this activity should be conducted. So teachers ask their students where they want to go, what they are interested in, which project or which adventure they dream of, what they want to know and experience. This can be done simply by organizing a meeting about it. And the person leading the conversation, of course, the teacher, should write down the wishes of the children and talk about the ways to make their ideas realizable. So what are the aims of this activity? So as you can see, encouraging collaboration between different teachers, between teachers of different subjects, improving relationships between teachers and students, cooperation with other organizations, with the people and stakeholders outside of the school, increasing students' engagement in learning, and also coherence between formal and non-formal education. So yes, at the beginning of the semester, the subject teacher presents a curriculum and begins to plan integrated activities which are related to outdoor learning. So students offer educational environments. Teacher selects topics, of course, according to the general curricula and teaching methods, paying attention to the wishes of his or her students. Forest Day. As traditional school is focused on academic achievements and knowledge transfer, Forest Day is inseparable from such subject-specific competencies. However, as I mentioned before, an Ask Children activity should be conducted. Forest Day can be organized for one class or for the whole school, and the number of teams and activities depends on it. The aim of this day is to create conditions for students to develop general competencies in a non-traditional environment. The objectives are as follows: to encourage students' communication and collaboration, to develop knowledge of nature, to promote students' physical activity, to develop their imagination, and to improve students' emotional state and emotional well-being. And the location of planned activities, of course, is the forest. As far as tools are concerned, so except for natural materials, students might have worksheets, pencils or pens, mobile phones, or tablets with the internet access, balls, a camera, and etc. Possible activities during the Forest Day. So, of course, the first activity should be team building. So, teams can be formed from different classes if the day is organized as a non-traditional day for the whole school. If one class participates in the activities of the Forest Day, so it is possible to allow students to form a team by themselves. As the formed team has to know its members very well, so various games, icebreaker games are possible. So, as I mentioned before, that as traditional school is focused on academic achievements and knowledge transfer, so organizing different integrated lessons also is a good thing to do. It should be mentioned that all subjects can be integrated and all subjects should be related to a non-traditional environment. So biology, language, mathematics, art lessons are planned. So what can we do, for example, in nature, in biology lessons? So, of course, the activities depends on the age of the students. And as an example, it can be, for example, identification of plants and animals. So, for example, teams are assigned to find 4 or 5 plants or animals in 45 minutes. They should take photos of them, gather information, and prepare to present to other teams. Now, what can students do in mathematics lessons during the Forest Day? So also there are a lot of different activities which are very interesting for students, and also they are very popular with the students. So, for example, students can determine the age of a tree. There are specific techniques how to do that, and you can find all these lessons descriptions of the lessons in our toolkit for teachers. Also, students can determine the step length while being in nature. They can determine the step length while walking quietly. They can determine the step length while walking in large steps. And of course, each activity is described and you can use. So now what can we do in language lessons? So students can learn new words. For example, students are given 20 words in their native language, and they are asked to rhyme the same words in other languages they are studying. But these words should be related to nature. So also we can use idiomatic expressions which contain plants or animal names. Usage of proverbs is also a good choice for teachers. For example, students should remember at least 5 proverbs which mention plants or animals. Riddles. Students should remember or guess riddles which mention animals or plants. Also, students can create advertisements. They can write a poem, an ode to the forest. In art lessons, so pupils can draw the selected tree, the selected flower or shrub. They can draw the sky or paint the landscape. Works made of natural materials are also very popular with the students. So different mandalas, ornaments, abstract and realistic paintings are created. And forest bathing is also a very useful and beneficial activity for students, because after an intense day, when students want to relax, to calm down, so they can just go to the forest, and it is possible to organize a silence mini bike. And of course, the day should end with the reflection. Organizing adventure day in a traditional school. So the aim of this day is to get to know each other better, to spend time in a meaningful way, to develop team skills, and to achieve a common goal. So what are the objectives? So to promote students' communication and social competencies, to increase students' attention span, to encourage students to think critically, solve logical tasks, and to promote students' physical activity. So, and organizing forest days, and while organizing adventure days. So the objectives are very similar. So we promote students' physical activity, and we care about their emotional well-being. So when teachers organize adventure days, so they should consider the location where they want to go and where their students want to go. So the territory, it is advisable, the territory should be close to the place of education, not far away from school. If we organize adventure days somewhere far away from the school, so, and this area is unfamiliar for us, so we have to know it very well. So it's very important that the teacher should know and should be familiar with the environment in which the activities will take place. So tools which are needed for this day. So worksheets, pens and pencils, cameras, natural materials, and having a compass is a must. And the most popular activities are hike, treasure hunt, and of course, as each day, so an adventure day should end with a reflection. So when we organize a hike, so we have to plan the route. We have to use Google Maps for choosing places. Also, we have to include natural objects in the route, and stops should be set up. There should be at least 5 stops. And at the last stop, students have to do some tasks and to reach the finish line in silence. And of course, at the end point, a picnic is organized and team games are played. So students really like this day very much. Having returned to school, students prepare PowerPoint presentations. So, treasure hunt. The route is also planned using Google Maps. Places and natural objects that need to be included in the route should be selected. Students are divided into teams. Organizers make a map, hide so-called treasure, and give students a compass. Then finders are awarded, and the day ends with a reflection. Also, while organizing adventure days, different activities are possible which students like very much. So one of the classic games is, for example, a potato sack race. So children place their both legs inside a sack and hop forward the finish line. And the first participant to cross the finish line is the winner of the race. Also, build a home, make a fire activities possible, organizing funny relays, and determining sound direction is also advisable. So what are the possible obstacles or barriers to the implementation activities in a traditional school? So, of course, it's a fear and concern about health and safety, about students' safety. Teachers' lack of confidence in teaching outdoors, strict school rules, school curriculum requirements, shortages of time, resources, and support. Weather conditions, because we can plan to go outside with our students, but suddenly it starts raining or snowing, and of course, then teachers and their students are prevented just from going outside. And also, traditional school still focuses on students' achievement, exam, tests, semesters, and it's very important that the training programs would be implemented. So sometimes such days can be organized once or twice a year. So these non-traditional days must be, I would say, planned in advance so that they can be included in the curriculum. Teachers, as I mentioned before, are responsible for safety and health of students because some activities can be risky, of course. So safety instructions are written and they are given to students, to children to sign up. Opportunity to be close to nature. Of course, there are unequal opportunities for young people, for students to be close to nature. So some students, especially those who live in big cities, have no green areas nearby. So Teachers should find solutions, and these solutions could be those: collaborate with social partners, organize activities in the schoolyard, and outdoor classes. So thank you for your attention. And I would like to say that please use our Toolkit for Teachers and outside Toolkit for Teachers, and you will find all the days described in detail, in depth. All the activities are described, and also there are a lot of photos and videos from our school, so you can just have a look and have a great time with your students. Goodbye.